everyone, welcome to this week's focus session. So this week I thought I would focus a little bit more on our posture and a lot of the postural muscles that we rely on. Obviously everyone's way of life has been pretty much completely turned upside down in one way or the other thanks to the current pandemic. A lot of people are working from home. Some people aren't able to do their normal activities. Obviously, we're all a bit more restricted about how much exercise we can do and how much we can do out and about and things. And I've had a lot of people doing some online consults just find they're getting loads of postural pain just from change of routine, change of habit. So I just wanted to go through there's some little bits that we can focus on. So if you're starting to feel like your mid-back's getting a little bit achy, or that pelvis is stiffening up, or you're getting that tension into your neck, we're just going to have a look at that nice spinal health. We're going to work a little bit on thinking about setting our posture correctly to start off with our Pilates practice. We're then going to work through some spinal mobility exercises and then really think about activating the muscles that we want to be working to support our posture. We shouldn't have to be working really hard to keep ourselves in a good posture. It's all about working and training the right muscles to do the right job. But unfortunately, sometimes we've got a change in scenario, or we're having to sit in poor postures or in work setups that aren't exactly ideal. We end up clinging on to other structures that shouldn't be used, and that's where pain comes from, because the wrong structures are doing the wrong jobs. So that's a little bit of thinking behind today's focus session. So I hope you enjoy it. I hope you find it useful. We'll just go through a little bit of a warm up as normal, then work through the main body of the class, and then some nice stretches, and hopefully to give you a little few cues along the way that you might be able to notice when your posture might be poor, or just think about those little telltale signs that your body's starting to tell you before the pain then gets too much and then you need to do a bit more about it. So if we make this slight adjustment, it's going to be a lot better for your spinal health. So we're going to start off in standing, and we're just going to work through our correct standing posture from top to toe. So we're just going to think about the weight falling equally through both sides of your body. So if you need to, have a little shift from side to side. Just feel where that centre of gravity is falling. And I'm imagining I'm standing on a nice white sandy beach, and I'm imprinting all of my foot, all the way from the tips of the toes through to my heels, are imprinting to give that perfect footprint in the sand. My knees aren't locked straight, they're just relaxed, allowing the weight to fall down through to the feet. We're going to think about that pelvis. I know I speak to you guys a lot about it, but that pelvic posture and that pelvic position and setting is really, really important. It's that core that holds everything together. So you can imagine you've got a bucket of water sitting around your pelvis. You're going to tilt the pelvis backwards, that water flows into your tummy, and then forwards, that water flows out in front of you. Good. This is working through, getting that nice little bit of mobility into that lumbar spine, and actually there's a lot more movement into your pelvis than you might think. So really try and get that mobility through to there. Feel for the range of movement that's available, and then we're going to pause at that point in between those extremes where that bucket of water is perfectly balanced, and that's what we call our neutral spine. So we're not braced through to our lower back, the rib cage isn't popping forward, we've still got that nice soft relaxed knee position, and the weight's equal through. So think about the rib cage, again they're soft, imagine you've got springs between your rib cage and your pelvis, and they're just soft and relaxed. We're not arching that mid-back, creating any tension into between those shoulder blades. Your rib cage can just gently soft and sink down into your torso. Then from there we're going to shrug the shoulders up towards your ears. Bring the arms back, and as we drop the arms back, you think about opening through the chest, so your weight's falling through your fingertips down to the ground. And this is something that I think is the first little bit that I wanted to keep an eye on. Is quite often we get a lot of shoulder pain, a lot of neck pain coming through into the side of our necks. And a lot of people think, oh, it's because I'm slouching. So what we tend up doing is squeezing our shoulder blades, and that makes all here work even harder. we should be able to have that nice mid-spine posture just by bringing the shoulder blades up and then relaxing down. You might get a bit of creaking, a bit of crunching, don't panic. And just one more. So as you just drop the shoulder blades back, you'll feel that your chest will open, the shoulders will naturally be further down, but they'll be relaxed into your spine rather than forcing them back. And it's just quite a nice way just to feel like your arms are hanging loose and they're relaxed. In terms of the neck, we're thinking about just gapping open those little bits of spine through into that neck. So spine draws forward, the chin tucks in slightly, just to create those spaces between those really close-knit cervical spine, and just feel the length coming in through the back. By having that little chin tuck and that elevation through the spine, what you're going to do is you're going to activate those deep neck flexors, so those ones that work into the base of your neck and work to keep your head nice and stable. That way you're going to avoid using those shoulder muscles to brace or start getting that chin poking and those scalenes at the front over activating. So that's where we're starting at in our perfect standing posture. Obviously it'd be ideal if we could walk around like that all day, but it's not going to happen, is it? So we're just going to think about trying to keep those key elements through the feet, the pelvis, the shoulders and the neck. Just think about those key points. We just work through a little bit of movement. So you're going to walk the hand down the side, open up through the rib cage, and then back to middle. So we're just allowing that little bit of spinal movement to come through. And what I'm doing here, my pelvis is still staying straight. My weight's still equal through both sides of the body. And I'm just using my spine to rotate on top of the pelvis. So working down and then going back to the centre and dropping down. And each time, just see if you can go a little bit further. Still imagine you've got little pressure sensors underneath your feet and they're keeping the same reading throughout. Trying to get a little bit further with that spine twist, really challenge that spinal mobility. Deep breath in and deep breath out. Good, and do one more. Nice equal numbers both sides. And then relaxing from there. So we're going to start thinking about activating those shoulder blades. So thinking about keeping, because we want the shoulder blade to do the work to keep that upper body posture rather than your neck. So from here your arms are going to be out at 90 degrees. You can stay standing, but I'm just going to come down into kneeling. It's a little bit easier to show from the camera angles. So I'm going to stay in a high kneel from here. Going to just imagine my weight still equal, coming down through the left and right sides of the body. So gently push the arms forward and then squeeze the shoulder blades to open back through the chest. So breathe out as we come forward. Good. And then from there, we're just going to challenge that little bit of mobility through the shoulder blades. So we want your rhomboids, which are these muscles between the shoulder blades, to activate, but we also need them to be mobile. So from there, we're going to flip the arms up and come up and overhead. Drop down, push forward, flip up and round. You know, see, those that have done my classes before know sometimes we do this exercise combining it with some leg movements and balance challenges. But all I want you to focus on now is getting the right muscles to do the right job. Good. A couple more. The chest should still be open. So that nice tall spinal posture. The pelvis is in neutral. Good. Two more. One. And then last one. So that's got those muscles through the shoulder blades activating. We've got that spinal mobility from doing our little spine twists. So from here, we're going to just bring ourselves into standing. We'll come into a little roll down to really think about that spinal mobility and opening through that posterior chain. So quite often, when we're sat down for too long, that we can end up getting tight through to the lower back, which then impacts into that pelvis. So we're going to tuck the chin to the chest, let the upper body hang down nice and heavy. So you lower yourself down and forward, open through the spine, one level at a time, and allow the body to drop nice and heavy. And as we come back up, we're going to reset into that perfect posture that we've just discussed. Weight equal through both sides, knees to relax, pelvis is neutral, rib cage is engaged, chest is open, and the head is just nicely lengthened. Take a deep breath in as we breathe out. We're going to come back down into our roll down. And then just gently bending down to the ground from there. Bottom back towards your heels and open through the spine. Good. So see, this is just our short little 30-minute focus class. So I'm just going to go through a few key exercises for each of those muscle groups responsible for stabilising and helping support you in that pelvis and in that posture that we've just discussed. So the first one we're going to start from top to toe. First exercise we're going to go through is working on those deep neck flexors. So we're going to think about just lying down onto your tummy. You can have your hands just rested in front of you. You can get a little block or a little pillow if you've got one nearby. Just resting onto your forehead. So you're going to think about, just as we did in standing, extending the neck away, tuck the chin to the chest. And then from here, you're going to keep your eye line pointing down to the ground. And you're just going to lift your head and neck a couple of centimetres off the ground and lower back down. So deep breath in to prepare. And breathe out as we push up. Good. So we're going to keep your hands down. I'm going to take this hand away so you can see the movement a little bit more. So we're working through those deep neck flexors, those ones at the front of your neck should be nice and relaxed, and there shouldn't be any pinching into your lower back. So just working through either side of the spine and lower. Deep breath in to prepare. Breathe out as you extend up. Good. 2 more. Good. And we're just going to combine that into working through the shoulder blades. We're still working down that chain. Again, this is a nice exercise to get that whole upper chain activating. So we're going to combine that with a little swan dive. So we're going to lift up. Head and neck activate first. Lifting up. If you've got any back pain or any problems coming into your back, then just stay with the head and neck. Don't add in the shoulders. Good. And relaxing from there. Gently pushing yourself up. Bring yourself back. Get a nice big stretch through the spine. Stretching through the shoulders. Good. And coming back to the centre from there. Yes, we're still going to think about working down that chain. So we're going to come into sitting. And it's just as important to know the right posture that we're trying to achieve in sitting as we are in standing, even more so sometimes. So just going to think about shifting your weight from side to side as if we're setting our weight through our feet. And just feel if those bony points into your bottom, into your seat bones, and just check the weight's equal. I'm going to come into a couple of pelvic tilts from here. Just coming forward and back, and find that neutral spine where that pelvis is nicely engaged. The shoulders again can come up and back, sink the rib cage down, open through the chest, and we've just got that nice spinal posture. So from here, we're just going to challenge that stability through from here. So we're going to start off in what I call some shoulder retractions. So you're going to bring the shoulder up, back and round, and we're going to alternate between sides. So it's all about trying to keep those shoulder blades mobile. All we're aiming to is keeping that muscle up the side of your neck relaxed. So it's dropping through and round. And in this position, you should be able to feel like the seat bones aren't shifting from side to side. It's still nice and stable, and you're not swaying. It's localizing the movement through to your shoulder blades. Good. So then moving down that chain of muscles, we're going to think about how we can activate those muscles into those obliques to support your rib cage. So from here, we're going to come into a little bit of an archer. So you're going to bring yourself up and back, looking back to that hand with your head, and then curling back and through. So you've got a little bit of a backwards lean, stabilising through your spine and coming back to centre. So think about that nice core engagement. So imagine you've got a really low slung belt loop coming around through that lower pass across the bony points on the front of your pelvis. And it's just engaging a couple of notches tighter than you would normally. But from here, it's all about controlling that mobility through the rib cage and controlling, even though we've got that little bit of a lean, we're using those deep tummy muscles connecting through the pelvic floor and up the multifidus, up your back, to keep that nice spinal posture. So you see, I'm not coming from here and going there. It's all about keeping that length and that open through the spine. Deep breath in to prepare. Breathe out as we extend. For those of you that have been doing Pilates with me for a while, if you want to make it a little bit harder, then what we can do is we can add this like opposite leg extension and challenge that stability. So those fascial chains that come across your spine from one shoulder blade towards the opposite glute, we're challenging that fascia and that stability a little bit more. Couple more each side. 1, 2, 3, 4, and relax. Gently curl yourself forward. Get that nice open and flexion through the spine. Good, then coming back down from there. So from here we're going to have a little lie onto our back. So we're going to work through, again, systematically working down that body, giving those postural muscles the right sort of cues to engage. So from here we're going to think about allowing that spine to stack nicely on each other, as well as keeping that spinal stability, so making sure we're not twisting through our hips too much. So we're going to come into a bridge. So you can keep the feet really close towards you. Tilt your pelvis back as if we're about to do that bucket of water exercise. That water's flowing into your tummy. Squeeze the bottom. Lift the spine up. One by one, we're back onto that white sandy beach. Imprinting your spine away and then back into the sand. So as we imprint back down, we start off between the shoulder blades, layer down one level at a time, and then come back to the centre. So through here, if you need to, pop your hands, or you can pop something across the front of your pelvis to check that pelvis to stay engaged. You're thinking about that nice stability through from your glutes, whilst combining it with that spinal mobility, because essentially we need those postural muscles to stabilise us when we're going around our everyday activity, which obviously involves a lot of movement. And it just thinks about extending and mobilising through the pelvis a little way. So tilt back, squeeze the glutes, lifting up one level at a time, up onto those shoulder blades, check that pelvis is in neutral. As we control back down, we start off with the breastbone, layer down, tilt that pelvis, get that bucket of water into your tummy button. Pelvis is the last to reach the movement. So a couple more repetitions. Good, one more. This time we're going to lift and hold. And we're just going to think about that weight transference down into our feet. So remember at the start when we were in that white sandy beach and our weight was equal through both sides. So into this bridge, keep squeezing your bottom, keep that pelvis stability. So we want to move your way from one side to the centre. Learn where that midpoint. Both legs come back to the other side, back to centre. So from here we're coming up. Drop both legs over. My glutes are still elevated. Shifting from one side And it's all about finding that midpoint between those. Keep your glutes engaged, keep that pelvis in neutral. Going to do one more each way. And then still curl that back down nice and level. Pelvis is the last of each movement. Drop the legs to the left, arms to the right, and get that nice big stretch through the back. And then from there, we're going to come over to the other side. So for our stretching part of this class, what I wanted to work on is just some really handy little stretches that you can start to do if you feel yourself getting those little niggles. So that one that we've just done, bringing the arms and legs towards the opposite side, is lovely to get that rotation through. Again, equally the pelvic tilt, just going to tilt forward and backwards, mobilises that lower back. So if you start to feel like that lower back starting to ache, obviously if it's an actual problem, you need to make sure it's safe to do so. So work within what you have been advised to do by your physio or your doctor. So work it through, tilting forward and backwards. That bucket of water is just flowing in towards your tummy and then away. And then another way to really lovely release that lower pelvis is to gently bring one leg in towards your body. We're going to circle that leg around. And then we're going to circle round the other way. And then we're going to lift the other leg up and just allow that bit of mobility to come through the hips. So obviously the hips are stiff, that's going to have an impact into your pelvis, up your lower back, and then pain potentially further up and down the chain, so then round the other way. And then just gently hugging both legs in towards your body, curl your spine up and curling through from there. You know, a little rock from side to side, forward or backwards, whatever you feel most comfortable. But it's all about trying to get that nice curling through back into that fetal position. Take a deep breath in, and as we breathe out, relaxing down from there. Good, so from here we're going to come into some nice stretches for your rib cage and that thoracic mobility. So again, you can do this either in sitting or if you're sat onto a chair, then a lovely one to do is just gently crossing the arms over the front of your body, tuck the chin to the chest, curl the body down and round, and we're going to twist your elbow towards your opposite knee to get that rotation through. And then back to the centre, and then through to the other side. Good, and then curl back up into that nice tall posture. So chin to chest, curling through, and then we're going to twist. And other side. Back to centre, curl back through. One more time. Crossing those arms, chin to chest, really open through that mid-spine, elbow to knee, and elbow to knee, and then coming back to the centre and curling back up into that nice tall posture. Another lovely way to stretch through from here is come into our mermaid stretch. So you're going to bring one leg in front, one leg behind. Weight equal through the seat bones. Again, you're going to struggle to get your weight through into that leg that's extended behind you. So into that position from here. But we're just thinking about that mobility through the ribs. So from here we're going to reach up and across. And just think about stretching through all of those obliques, opening through and just getting that spine to really curl on top of the pelvis with the pelvis stabilised in that seated position. Take a deep breath in, and as we breathe out, we're going to drop all the way down and then reaching across. and then coming back to the centre. Going to swap the legs over. Okay, we're going to hold from there and then reaching through, bring that weight into that seat bone a little way more. Take a deep breath in and breathing out and round. Good, then coming back to the centre. We're going to work on a little bit of spinal mobility in a moment, but I just want to come into some lovely neck stretches, which are quite nice to do just in sitting. So bring yourself into a comfortable seated position. You're going to drop the ear to the shoulder and let the opposite arm hang down heavy. So if you feel that stretch through the side of the neck. If you need to, you can sit onto that hand and feel that stretch come through from there. Try not to let the shoulder creep forward, so it's still keeping nice and tall. And if you want to add a slightly stronger stretch, you can just use your hand to gently pull the neck over. And if you've got any kind of neck pathology or anything, then just don't. And it's not a pull, it's just adding a little bit of pressure, and you feel that stretch come through the sides of the neck. And you can move your chin to the chest, or look up a little way, just to change where you feel that stretch through the sides of the neck. And then come back to the centre. I'm going to swap over to the other side. Again, I quite like sitting on my hand because it means I know I keep that shoulder fixed, but whatever you feel most comfortable with, ear to shoulder, drop down to the side. And again, if you want to, just bring that arm over, add that little bit of overpressure. Again, we're not pushing and forcing it down, it's just chin, moving around to wherever you feel you need the stretch. It's completely individual. You might find that just holding it to the side is enough. You might find that you get a bit tighter through the back of your neck, so the chin forward will help you there. Or if you find that you get stuck tight and you get that chin coming forward, then just bring the head and look up towards the ceiling, and that will stretch through the front. And relaxing down from there. Okay, so we're going to backtrack a little bit into going back down through the spine into that thoracic mobility. So from here we're going to come into a thread the needle. So knees are underneath hips, hands are underneath shoulders, and we're going to thread the left arm through and round. Just let the back of the shoulder and the head relax onto the mat. And then we're going to twist up and let the head follow the movement of that arm. So we're going to stay on this side, take a deep breath in, breathe out, stretching through. Again, you can do this as far and as quickly as you feel comfortable to. Just work to where your range is happy. And then we're going to come on to the other side. So we're going to reach through, let the head and neck relax through to the back of the shoulder, and then looking up towards your hand and through. Good, last couple, we're nearly there. Just really think about that nice opening of the back of the shoulder and that twist through the mid-back. And then from there, we're going to bring the bottom back to heels, back into child's pose. Tuck the chin to the chest, get that length through the spine, all the way down. Try and keep your bottom as close back to heels as you can. Take a deep breath in. As you breathe out, see if you can creep forward that little way more.